Aroma. An aroma is a scent or smell.
I love the aroma of coffee in the morning.
Beverage. A beverage is a drink.
The waiter brought our beverages first, then he brought our food.
Cluster. A cluster of things is a small group of them placed close together.
She held a large cluster of grapes in her hand.
Combine. To combine is to join together to make a single thing or group.
Mina combined peanut butter and jelly to make a sandwich.
Condensed. When a liquid is condensed, it is made thicker.
One way to make a dessert thick and sweet is to use condensed milk.
Contemporary. When something is contemporary, it is related to the present time.
Contemporary scientists have learned quite a bit about DNA.
Cultivate. To cultivate plants is to care for them and help them grow.
A research company is cultivating new kinds of rice to aid poor countries.
Divine. When something is divine, it is related to gods.
Legends say that music was given to men as a divine gift from the gods.
Humid. When it is humid, there is a lot of water in the air.
It is very humid inside of a sauna.
Odor. An odor is a very distinct smell.
He knew there was a leak when he noticed the strong odor of natural gas.
Palate. The palate is the top part of the mouth.
You can touch your palate with your tongue.
Paradise. Paradise is the place or condition of happiness where things are perfect.
My vacation in Hawaii was like being in paradise.
Plantation. A plantation is a big farm that only grows certain kinds of crops.
In the 1800s, there were many cotton plantations in the southern U.S.
Rapid. When something is rapid, it moves or changes very quickly.
His mother was surprised by her son's rapid growth.
Rate. A rate is the speed at which something happens.
Grass tends to grow at a very slow rate.
Soothing. When something is soothing, it makes you calm or relaxed.
The soothing music helped the baby fall asleep.
Subtle. When something is subtle, it is not easy to see or notice.
The handsome man has a subtle smile.
Texture. Texture is the quality of something that can be known by its touch.
The texture of her skin was very soft and smooth.
Toxic. When something is toxic, it is poisonous. Toxic things are very dangerous.
Please check the label to see if the product is toxic.
Vary. To vary means to be different from another thing in size or amount.
The heights of the people in my class vary by a large amount.
The history of chocolate. Many people believe that chocolate originally came from Europe. However, chocolate, called the food of the gods, was first made in the Americas. The first chocolate was very different from contemporary chocolate. Wild chocolate trees can grow easily in the humid Amazon rainforest. Clusters of flowers growing on these trees turn to seeds. About 20 to 60 cacao beans can be found in the seeds. Cacao beans are the ingredient needed to create sweet, soothing, and delicious chocolate treats. The Mayan and Aztec cultures both thought that chocolate trees were brought from paradise by gods. The Mayans and Aztecs used the beans from this divine tree to create a special beverage with a very pleasant odor. Surprisingly, the Aztecs believed that it would be toxic to women and children. In the 1500s, the Spanish explorer Cortés met the Aztecs. Cortés became quite interested in the plantations where the Aztecs cultivated chocolate trees. When he returned to Europe, he took cacao beans with him. He introduced the people of Spain to the Aztecs' chocolate beverage. Over the next 100 years or so, kings, queens, and members of the upper class enjoyed drinking chocolate. They enjoyed it even more once they learned to add sugar to the beverage. Soon, chocolate had spread all across Europe. New machines allowed chocolate makers to perfect their products and produce them at a very rapid rate. Preparing the beans in special ways brought out the aroma of chocolate. The beans were combined with condensed milk to give the chocolate a smooth texture. Today, contemporary chocolates with subtle flavors fill the shelves of expensive chocolate shops. The different types of chocolate available today vary widely. True chocolate lovers can tell which is best, though. They will tell you that the flavor of high-quality chocolate stays on the palate long after you finish it. Accident. An accident is an unexpected, undesirable event.
She had to go to the hospital after she was in a serious car accident.
Admiral. An admiral is someone who controls many military ships.
They won the sea battle because of the admiral's great leadership.
Arc. An arc is a curved shape.
A rainbow has the shape of an arc.
Character. Your character is your personality.
My sister's character is fun and very outgoing.
Conscience. Your conscience is your inner sense of what is right and wrong.
I recycle everything I can, so my conscience is clear.
Fiery. If something is fiery, it is burning strongly.
The fiery blaze burned all night long.
Flesh. Flesh is the skin, muscle, and fat on your body.
The zebra's flesh has black and white stripes.
Grapefruit. A grapefruit is a fruit similar to an orange, but bigger and not as sweet.
Would you like a grapefruit with your breakfast?
Hay. Hay is dry grass used to feed animals or used as a covering.
I need to buy some more hay for the horse to sleep on.
Horrified. If you are horrified, you are very shocked and feel upset.
I was horrified when I read about the old lady who was attacked.
Kerosene. Kerosene is a type of oil. It is used in some lamps and stoves.
Many people in poor countries cook on kerosene stoves.
Loop. A loop is a line made into the shape of a circle.
He made a loop with the rope and placed it over the post.
Paddle. A paddle is a piece of wood or plastic that moves a boat across water.
We need a paddle to help us move across the water.
Raft. A raft is a floating platform made from pieces of wood tied together.
The man made a raft out of bamboo and floated out to sea.
Sour. When something is sour, it has a sharp and unpleasant taste.
I don't like lemons because I think they are too sour.
Stake. A stake is a small, sharp piece of wood or metal that is put into the ground.
We marked our property by placing stakes into the ground.
Steward. A steward is a person like a waiter who serves food on planes and ships.
The steward is bringing some tea.
String. String is a thin piece of fabric or rope.
I found a large ball of string.
Thorn. A thorn is a sharp part of a plant.
Be careful of the thorns when you pick the roses.
Wreck. To wreck something means to destroy or ruin it.
The teenagers wrecked the house for no reason at all. Monkey Island. In the middle of the ocean, there is a small island shaped like an arc. Here, monkeys play on the beach and in the trees. But how did the monkeys get there? Once an English admiral was exploring Africa when he found hundreds of monkeys. The admiral's character was mean. He thought, I could sell these monkeys and become very rich. I'm going to take them to England. So the admiral set traps to catch the monkeys. He put stakes in the ground, tied string around them, and made loops in the string. When the monkeys ran through the forest, their feet got caught in the loops, and they couldn't escape. Then the admiral put the monkeys in cages on his ship and sailed away. The cages were small and uncomfortable. There was no soft hay for the monkeys to sleep on. Instead, they slept on branches with sharp thorns that cut into the monkeys' flesh. For dinner, he gave them tiny pieces of sour grapefruit to eat. The monkeys grew hungry and weak. But one day, the admiral hired a new steward. He was a kind man with a good conscience. He was horrified to see the thin monkeys in the cages, so one night he let them out. The monkeys ran and played all over the ship. They attacked the admiral and the steward and ate their food. They completely wrecked the ship. One monkey ran into a kerosene lamp and it fell over. The ship caught fire and began to sink. The whole crew was lost except for the monkeys. After the accident, the monkeys jumped onto a raft. They floated away from the fiery blaze of the ship. In the morning, they saw a little island in the distance. The monkeys used a piece of wood as a paddle, and they went toward it. They found the island shaped like an arc. They felt so happy to find a new home, and they still live there today.
Admonish. To admonish someone is to tell them you disapprove of their behavior.
The teacher admonished Mark because he was chewing gum in class.
Audible. If something is audible, then it is able to be heard.
The sound of the drums was audible from miles away.
Awesome. If something or someone is awesome, they are impressive or frightening.
The huge military plane was an awesome sight.
Beware. To beware means to be careful of something or someone that is dangerous.
You should beware of driving fast on wet roads.
Brag. To brag means to talk of one's abilities or achievements in a proud way.
He had strong muscles and bragged about it to the entire class.
Conscious. If someone is conscious of something, then they are aware of it.
The new student was conscious of the other students staring at her.
Disagree. To disagree with someone means to have a different opinion from them.
The lawyers disagreed about the best way to settle the case.
Echo. To echo means that a sound repeats itself because it bounced off an object.
The child yelled over the canyon, and the wall echoed the sound.
Eventual. If something is eventual, it will happen at the end of a series of events.
The constant training and planning led the team to an eventual victory.
Hint. A hint is information that suggests something will happen or is true.
I quietly passed on a hint to my sister about the test.
Idiot. An idiot is a person who is not smart or who has done something silly.
Because he got lost in the forest, the man felt like an idiot.
Immense. If something is immense, it is very large.
An immense amount of money was needed to buy such a large boat.
Indirect. If something is indirect, then it is not the easiest or straightest way.
He chose to take the most indirect route to the coast.
Option. An option is a choice between two or more things.
The children were given the option of 3 houses to pick from.
Pastime. A pastime is an activity done for fun that you do often.
In the U.S., baseball is considered the national pastime.
Perfect. If something is perfect, then it is without any mistakes.
She got all the questions right, so her score was perfect.
Pinpoint. To pinpoint something means to locate it exactly.
The navigation system in my car is able to pinpoint my exact location.
Switch. To switch means to change something to something else.
Mom switched the TV station from the news to her favorite show.
Thorough. If something or someone is thorough, then they are complete in every way.
Tina did a thorough job of cleaning the stains out of the carpet.
Torment. To torment someone means to cause them to suffer on purpose.
She tormented her little brother by taking his favorite toy.
The young man and the old man. A proud young man was looking for a new pastime. He heard about people hiking in the national parks and decided to try it for himself. As he started his stroll, an old man walked up to him. "Don't go this way," the old man said. "Beware. The paths are not clear. It's easy to become lost." But the young man disagreed with the old man and bragged that he had a perfect understanding of the park. "I studied maps of this area," he told him. "I believe I have a thorough knowledge of these trails. I won't become lost." The old man listened to the young man and then admonished him for his pride. "I have walked these trails my entire life," he said. "If you think you will be safe, then go ahead." The young man ignored the old man and started along the trail. Whenever he had to choose between an easy or difficult route, he always chose the more difficult option. In addition, he was not conscious of which direction he was going. After a while, he decided to return home. Because his course through the wilderness was so indirect, he had no idea where he was. He looked at his map, but could not pinpoint his location. He walked one path after another, but soon realized he was lost. The sun was going down, and sudden strong winds gave a hint that it might rain. Immense clouds filled the sky. Awesome sounds of thunder were audible from all directions. It echoed off the mountains. The thought of the eventual storm tormented the young man. He hurried in one direction, but soon switched out of confusion. Luckily, it led him out of the park. When he arrived home, he knew that he had acted like an idiot. He realized he was lucky to be alive. He decided to listen to people with more experience than himself. Beak. A beak is the hard, curved part of a bird's mouth.
The bird used her beak to dig a small hole in the ground.
Damp. If something is damp, it is somewhat wet.
My hair is still damp from my shower.
Disapprove. To disapprove of something is to think that it is wrong.
Alex disapproved of his son's behavior.
Accept. You use except to talk about the only thing that a statement does not apply to.
Everyone had fun on the trip except Jim, who felt ill the whole time.
Flight. A flight is an act of flying, often in an airplane.
The airplane made a flight around the world.
Fond. When someone is fond of something, they like it.
I am very fond of chocolate cake.
Immoral. When something or someone is immoral, they are evil or do bad things.
Stealing money from one's mother is an immoral act.
Ivy. Ivy is a plant with long vines that grows upward, typically on walls.
The walls of the castle are covered with ivy.
Moan. To moan is to make a low sound when feeling pain or sadness.
The sick man moaned from his bed.
Oblivious. If someone is oblivious of something, they are unaware of it.
I was late to school because I was oblivious of the time.
Perish. To perish means to die, usually because of bad conditions or a bad events.
Many people perish in wars.
Pit. A pit is a big hole in the ground.
Michael fell into the pit and needed some help to get out.
Rim. The rim is the outside edge of a round thing, like a cup or bottle.
I put my lips to the rim of the bottle and took a drink.
Roost. A roost is a place where birds can land and rest or sleep.
The family of doves made a roost at the top of the tree.
Slippery. If something is slippery, it is wet or smooth and causes people to slip.
The repairman fell down on the floor because it was too slippery.
Soar. To soar means to fly high in the air.
As the sun rose, 2 eagles soared through the sky.
Trivial. If something is trivial, it is not important or meaningful.
Television is trivial, but learning to read is very important.
Typical. If something is typical, it is normal for a certain type of thing.
Barking is typical behavior for dogs.
Utterly. If something is utterly away, it is completely that way.
When the sun was blocked by the moon, it was utterly dark outside.
Weep. To weep means to cry.
My sister told me the dramatic movie would make me weep. The tricky fox. There was a fox that lived in the forest. Fox loved to play mean tricks on the other animals. One day, he used the sharp rim of a bottle to dig a pit in the ground. He hid in a tree until Rabbit came to the pit's edge. Then he jumped out and pushed Rabbit into the pit. Fox laughed and ran away. The angry Rabbit climbed out and told the other animals what happened. The others said, "That is typical behavior for Fox. He does mean things all the time. Sometimes he is completely immoral. We all disapprove of his actions, so we should teach him a lesson. Tomorrow, we'll push Fox into that pit." The next day, all of the animals hid near the pit and waited for Fox. Fox was oblivious to the hidden animals. He walked up to the pit to see if Rabbit was still trapped. Just then, the other animals ran up to Fox and pushed him in. All the animals laughed and cheered, except Fox, of course. Fox couldn't get out. The walls of the pit were covered in damp ivy. It was too slippery for him to climb out. He was utterly helpless. He moaned and began to weep. At last he saw Eagle watching him from her roost. He yelled, "Eagle, please help me! If I don't get out of here, I will perish!" Eagle said, "You may think your tricks are trivial, but you hurt others when you do mean things. I'll help you if you promise to be nice." Fox said, "I promise." Eagle began her flight to the bottom of the pit. She picked up Fox with her beak and soared out of the pit. She dropped Fox safely on the ground. Fox thanked Eagle and kept his promise. He was nice to the other animals. The animals even became fond of Fox, and the forest was a happy place.
A while. If you do something a while, you do it for a short time.
Wait here a while, and I'll bring some tea.
Cyberspace. Cyberspace is the imaginary place of the Internet where activities occur.
I didn't receive your email. It probably got lost in cyberspace.
Edit. To edit means to correct a piece of writing so that it is suitable to be published.
She asked her brother to edit her paper before she submitted it to her teacher.
Essay. An essay is a short piece of writing on a certain subject.
She had to write a 2-page essay for her English class.
Evaluate. To evaluate something means to study it so a decision can be made.
Joe and Ken evaluated the plan and agreed that it would work.
Faint. To faint means to go unconscious and fall down.
Carol fainted because she hadn't eaten in over a day.
Global. If something is global, it happens all around the world.
Pollution is a global problem.
Gymnasium. A gymnasium is a building with equipment that you can use to get exercise.
When I go to the gymnasium, I use the treadmill for 20 minutes.
Highlight. To highlight something means to mark it with a color so that it is easy to see.
I read my vocabulary list and highlighted the most difficult words.
Ignorant. If someone is ignorant about something, they have no knowledge about it.
I'm a bit ignorant about his theories. Can you explain them to me?
Index. An index is a list of words at the end of a book that gives information.
If you look in the index, you'll find the right page number.
Lecture. A lecture is a long educational speech.
His lecture on world hunger was very informative.
Moral. A moral is a message at the end of a story that teaches you something.
At the end of the story, Mother explained the moral to the children.
Operate. To operate means to work or function.
I'm sorry, but the trains are not operating today.
Private. If something is private, it is only used by one person or group.
Don't look at my diary. It's private.
Recent. When something is recent, it happened a short time ago.
I did not know what caused his recent behavior.
Resolution. A resolution is a personal decision.
At New Year, I made a list of resolutions to help me have a better year.
Semester. A semester is a portion of a school year.
Jack is in his second semester of college.
Typewritten. If something is typewritten, it is written on a computer or typewriter.
This is an important formal project and must be typewritten.
Weird. When something is weird, it is very strange.
My best friend's dad is a bit weird.
The magic computer. I had a difficult geography project to finish by the end of the semester. My teacher wanted it to be typewritten, so I went to the school computer room. But when I got there, all the computers were turned off. Apparently there was a recent problem and technicians were fixing it. I knew of some private study rooms downstairs. They were small and dark and the computers were very old, but I had no choice. At least the computers were operating correctly. I typed and highlighted the assignment's title, Evaluate the Government's Response to Global Warming. But I didn't know what to write in my essay. Finally, I decided to find a book to help me. I went to the library, checked the book indexes, and eventually found a useful book. Then I returned to the computer. When I looked at the screen, I saw something so weird that I nearly fainted. The essay was complete. Had somebody in cyberspace written it? I didn't know, but I was very happy. I printed it out and handed it in. I got an A. After that, I used the computer for all my assignments. I'd type the title, wait a while, and the computer would do it. Every assignment was perfect. I never had to edit anything. I stopped paying attention to my teacher's lectures and spent my extra time in the gymnasium, and my grades got better and better. A month later, I was walking into class when my friend said, "Are you prepared for the test?" "What test?" I asked. "The geography test," he replied. "I hope you studied. It's worth 70% of our final grade." I failed the test, of course. I was completely ignorant about the subject. After that, I made a resolution never to use the magic computer again. The moral of this story is that if you cheat at school, you won't learn anything.